Hello, and welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Oh, Lord. Mm-mm-mm. We got a special day today. Hey, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, and I hope I can get through everything tonight. I'm going to try. I took some very rudimentary notes because um, I've been working all day. I have a business. I really have two businesses. I have a little one. Tomorrow's a special day at school, so I had to take the little one shopping. I just have had a lot. So I didn't quite get to, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't quite get to do as many screenshots and, really, really like um, extensive notes the way I wanted to. So we're just gonna make it do what it do. I'm just sharing a little um, thing in case you want to send me a private message. If you have a question or something that you want me to get to, you could type it in a chat or you could type it backstage, either one. Pin the message. All right, beautiful. Hey, I'm getting better at this streaming. Okay, this is what I want to talk about tonight. Please type a 1 if you can hear me. Please let me know that you can hear me. If you can hear me, type 1. I'm going to talk about love bombing today. I'm going to talk about shared fantasy. I'm going to talk about narcissistic wealthy men. I'm going to talk about insecure, clingy attachment style. I'm going to talk about attachment styles in general, briefly. So let me just give you a lay of the land of what's going on. You might have saw the title. You might have saw the thumbnail. So you might have an idea of what's going on. I mean, I was minding my business today. I'm minding my business when all of a sudden my timeline gets filled up. Excuse me. My timeline gets filled up with news that Porsha Williams is pregnant and engaged to a former friend's husband. And first they were saying ex-husband, but as I understand, the man is not yet divorced, so that's still her husband, the friend. So that's what's going on. It's on Instagram. Let me share it with you right now so you can see. I did pull up some screens. Oh, it's here. Hey, and great. Let me just toggle to a few things to show you. Okay. I didn't realize it. I was already sharing my screen. All right, so here's the story that I'll just kind of give you. This will kind of help you get caught up on what's going on. It says Porsha Williams has raised some eyebrows with the news that she is now engaged to a man Real Housewives of Atlanta viewers met this season as the husband of one of her friends. Williams posted about her relationship with businessman Simon, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Gulbadia, maybe Gulbadia or Gulbadia, on her verified Instagram account on Monday. Our relationship began a month ago. Yes, we are crazy in love. I know it's fast, but we are living life each day to its fullest. The caption of a photo of the couple read, I choose happiness every morning and every night, tuning out all negative energy and only focus on positive wishes. He makes me so happy, and to me, that is what matters most. Gulbadia and his wife Fallon were introduced on the Real Housewives of Atlanta this season, with her being listed as friend of the in their first scenes. In April, the Gulbadias announced that they were splitting. On Mother's Day, Williams posted a photo of her with Gulbadia and the father of her toddler daughter Pilar Janae, her former fiance Dennis McKinley, in which she separated by appeared to. Simon and Dennis are committed to being respectful and supportive of my happiness in this situation, as well as being the best co parents they can be to baby PJ. Williams wrote in the caption announcing her relationship with Gulbadia. These black men stepping up and being amazing people. Let's praise them. Gulbadia confirmed their engagement in an Instagram post, which included a photo of the ring. Getting married again was never a question in my mind, but when. Did not expect to be blessed with a mate so soon, he wrote. We have done the individual work to sustain a healthy relationship, and I stand next to her, proud of what what we found in each other. He added, "What we have is what we wish every single one out there, happiness." So when I asked, she said yes. Part of the Gulbadia's storyline on Housewives focused on wealth and the age difference between the couple. He is 56 and she is 31. In her posting, uh, Williams wrote, "For all of you who need facts, I get the optics, but Simon filed for divorce from a previous marriage in January. I had nothing to do with their divorce filing. That's between the two of them. Bella and I are not friends. The Simon's divorce has been settled," she wrote. Our relationship is positive, loving step towards every our relationship is a positive, loving step towards forward for everybody's lives. It is unclear as to whether the Goibadias are legally divorced yet. CNN has reached out to a rep for Williams for a comment or whatever. Okay. All right. So you saw that. Let's look at the Instagram. Let me just show you the pictures real fast. Okay. So this is Goibadia. As I understand, he's Nigerian. I didn't know. I'd never heard that particular last name. I wonder if he's Yoruba or some other tribe. Maybe he's a different tribe. I don't know. But here's the Instagram. So you can see he's a very wealthy man. He gets his money from oil, from petroleum. So he has a lot of money. You see him on this private jet. So people say he's estimated to be worth 40 million. This is the announcement right here. So I was reading parts of this on that People magazine. I think that was People magazine or Entertainment Tonight or CNN. CNN? Yeah, CNN. So have the comments have been, of course, the comments have been disabled. I can imagine him having the comments enabled on this, but he would be getting lit up. I'd like to seize this opportunity to thank everybody, blah, blah, blah. The interesting thing about life is that it is an individual journey. Portia and I, with the support of our loved ones, have chosen to travel together as one and spread love and positivity to our community, which is in desperate need of positive, healthy images of the best versions of ourselves. Blah, blah, blah. That is all that mattered. Thank you again for your love and support. Truly appreciate it. I asked her to marry me because we checked all of each other's boxes and then some. We have done the individual work to sustain a healthy relationship, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's his announcement. And then here's her announcement. Here's Portia's announcement right here. Let's see if she disabled her comments. I bet she has. Yeah. So the comments are disabled. Yeah, they're disabled. Ay, Dios santo. She's talking about co-parenting and okay, let me give you all the timeline as I understand. I think that Dennis took off some of the posts that he did of the woman he's currently married to, Fallon, and supposedly he filed for divorce in January. And supposedly I think somebody said that he was writing something about reconciliation as late as February. So doesn't give a lot of time for someone to be madly in love. Um, Maybe I'll tell you quickly a personal story which will help you understand because I'm not about to go in on Portia, and I'm not about to bash her. I mean, everybody's been doing that all day, calling her a whore, a slut, a blah blah blah. I mean, I've heard it all. So you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to look at it from a different perspective. And I do think that some of my views are a bit controversial, especially when it comes to monogamy and different types of setups for relationships. I know that I don't like, I'm kind of, a little bit of a loner. Like I know there's a lot of religion and morality and people's philosophies and standards and what's taboo and what's not. I know that comes up a lot and that really informs the way people think about monogamy. I tend to have a more fluid understanding of how adults configure their relationships. So I know that's not super popular. So that kind of eliminates a lot of my I just I don't have the urge to obliterate Portia. I just don't. Um we have four people in the room. Do y'all want me to tell to just talk about this, or do you want me to tell you the personal story? I mean, because I don't know if this was a 3 week um courtship or something. I don't know. It's kind of possible. Um my ex-husband, I we got engaged in like 2 3 weeks. So I'm familiar with this Speedy Gonzalez type of relationship. I understand where she's coming from. The thing about narcissistic males is that they love bomb and they want you to move very, very fast. Like they get caught up in something that's called the shared fantasy. Okay, so let's go with the shared fantasy first. So the shared fantasy it's basically kind of like everybody understands the concept of honeymoon phase. So honeymoon phase is considered that golden time of a relationship when you just get together and you think everything that he does is so cute and adorable. And he thinks everything that you do is so cute and adorable. You never fight. You always get along. You start finishing each other's sentences. You want to spend a lot of time together and all of that kind of stuff. And everything's just going very smoothly. A shared fantasy, if you can think about it, is honeymoon phase times 10. So it is where, okay, there's a lot of future faking that happens, or sometimes it may not necessarily be future faking, because someone like Simon, he actually has the money to do a lot of things, right? But for regular schmegular guys, or for guys even who are dusty or broke or whatever, a lot of times they don't have the money to do everything, so they'll just kind of future fake. So they'll be like, "Oh, baby, I'm going to build you a house," or like, "We're going to go on a cruise." I can, and whatever it is that you want, they basically just echo it. So if you want, let's say, to travel and backpack through Europe, and you mention that on a date, then they're gonna promise you that. Oh, I know we're gonna, go to Europe, we're gonna backpack, and we're gonna go to a cafe, and I'm gonna buy you a French this, and we're gonna go to there, and we're gonna go to Italy, and it's just a lot of whatever you desire. That's what they're gonna say. So if you want to have a condo in a particular city, they're gonna talk about how are you gonna decorate the condo that we're gonna buy together. Like, how are you gonna decorate it, baby? And so you start imagining this condo, you start imagining going shopping for it, and and the person who's getting into the shared fantasy, they're just they're intoxicated with the imagination, because your imagination is much more it's wilder and more, over the top than what your reality is. So you're falling more so in love with a fantasy than you are with what is actually happening, although what's happening in your reality is enforcing the fantasy. And so then there's the future faking, and they have to idealize you. Okay, so hopefully you understand what that shared fantasy is. And inside that shared fantasy, there's something called future faking, which I just explained. And there's another thing that happens inside the shared That's idealization. So narcissistic people, well, some borderline people do it too. Narciss they idealize you, and what that idealization is about is it's more so about them than it is about you. So they have a certain image that they have of themselves, and they have to idealize you up to be good enough to be with them, right? So you're not just pretty, you are amazingly beautiful. And part of that, you being amazingly beautiful, has to do with the fact that the narcissist they need to tell themselves inside their head, I'm with the most beautiful, amazingest person in the world. You're so smart. You do everything right. You're very intelligent. You're very classy. You are the perfect woman for him. You do everything beautiful, and your food tastes amazing. You are so everything. This is the idealization process that happens. If you're somebody who has a low self-esteem, or if you're a codependent, you are particularly vulnerable to falling prey to the idealization part, because especially if you grew up with two cluster B parents the way I did, you don't feel seen, and you don't feel heard, and you don't feel understood. So when the narcissist comes, they tap right into that core wound. They know that because narcissists are naturally attracted to codependent people, and you feel extremely seen by the narcissist because they have such an intense gaze, such a very focused and all-encompassing gaze. And they're studying every aspect of you. The narcissist studies every aspect of you, so you feel very seen. They're down to your cuticles. They admire. Oh my God, even your cuticles are beautiful. Gosh, even your hair follicles are amazing. And you're like, wow, this person really sees me. They really sees me. They really see me. But what you're saying in your head, what is coming out is like, oh, they must really love me, and they're falling in love with me, and we're falling in love with each other. But the inner child feels seen, right? And heard and understood, because a narcissist is idealizing you. Those are sort of the what would you call them, the aftermath, or the after effect of all of that idealization. So I'm imagining that's what's happening. That's what has happened in this relationship with Portia and with Simon. They're sort of in that stage. And like, just on a side note, just as a piece of advice, I wouldn't recommend that you get married during the love bombing. These are the type of narcissists that say, hey, let's fly to Vegas. Let's fly to Vegas and get married today, right now. They don't want to wait. And they don't want to wait because, they know that they want you to marry them before you find out who the real them is. A little bit less so with rich men, but a little bit so with rich men. They want to hurry up and lock you in as quickly as possible. They don't, and then also they're also carried away by the shared fantasy. How do I feel about Portia? This is messy. Portia. If Portia was my homegirl, I would have told her, don't do this, sis, because this is not a good idea. I think that this is extremely messy, mainly because Simon is not divorced. And second of all, I don't know what Portia wants to do. Like, I don't know what her motives are. But if she wants to get married and stay married, then this isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to do it. I'm not saying don't date Simon, but I would have waited. Me personally, I would have waited. Um, I wouldn't have married him. I wouldn't have. It's just icky. It's icky, and this is basically, Portia. The chances of this relationship enduring for like a lifetime, I would say it's like 1% or less. Not you, like, because you don't have a strong foundation of this relationship. This man is not even divorced. So it's messy. It's very messy. How do I feel about Portia aside from this? I don't know if Portia is narcissistic. I don't know, but I feel like she has a lot of codependent traits. A border, we'll say codependent. She has some codependent traits to her. She tends to link up with narcissistic people like Phaedra, like Nene, like Cordell, right? Like Dennis. She tends to kind of cling towards those people, right? Uh, so she's like a magnet basically to narcissistic people. For whatever reason, I do think that Portia, she's a beautiful woman. I think she has a low self-esteem. I do. Or I think she has a low, yeah, I think she kind of has a low self-esteem. And I also think that she's a bit shallow. She lacks depth. And I don't know what the answer to that is. Like, I don't, maybe she's just gonna not, maybe she's just gonna be shallow for the rest of her life. And being shallow in and of itself isn't necessarily the end of the world. It just is what it is. Um, So I think that very superficial and surface level things entice her and they are enough for her. So like for example, for me, I the labels for me are not enough. I do like labels to a certain degree, but I tend to like more like downplay type of labels. I like nice cars. I like luxurious environments. I like money. I like champagne. I like all the things that like I like riding in first class. I love all those things. But it's not enough for me. You know what I mean? Like I have ideas. I have and not just like about hair and makeup and shit. I have ideas about the world, I have life experience in terms of traveling and um, doing different types of like self-development programs throughout the year and dabbling in different religious philosophies and I need more and I just don't think that Portia's someone who needs more. I think like the ratchet superficial shit is enough for her. And so I don't know, like, so I think that will kind of lead you, if you're not looking for depth, in other words, what I'm saying is if you're not looking for depth and a full-bodied experience with a relationship or with life in general, when things look good on Instagram or when things look good because the house is luxurious or whatever the case may be, and then you can just like, that's enough. Okay, boom, I'm fine, I'm good. And I wonder that about Portia. And I think that Portia, obviously, I'm reluctant to say she has a low self-esteem, but I'm gonna go ahead and say I think she has a low self-esteem. I do, because if you look at if you look at her relationship history, if you allow yourself to get so quickly involved with Dennis the way you did, because this is basically like a Dennis 2.0, the way, and then got pregnant so fast. And I mean, I did too, girl. So, whatever. I've lived and I've learned. So I'm not like, that's why I'm not going to crucify Portia. I mean, because I kind of like did the same thing, right? I kind of did the same thing. So I understand that. And I think that as a woman, when you get to that age range, that like late 20s to like mid 30s, your judgment is so clouded. Your baby fever is overwhelming. It is overwhelming. It's very hard to keep it in check and to make good decisions. And so she, in a baby feverish, low self-esteem induced psychosis, okay, she gets with Dennis and gets pregnant so fast. And then I think after she got pregnant, she tried to force the whole engagement thing. And I think that's more about what it looks like. And I think it's also she's being influenced by the show because the show is called Real Housewives of Atlanta. And so if she's not connected with anybody in a relationship, and she's not particularly close with anybody on the show, she's grown so accustomed to that fame. How can she give that up, and all the opportunities, and her whole life is basically hinged around the show, because the show feeds everything else. The show pushes people to the radio show. The show pushes people to the hair, her product line. I think she sells hair or something. The show pushes people to the Instagram and the social media, and the show gives her opportunities to get like paid bookings and endorsements and all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of those opportunities stop if she were to stop the show, because the show is kind of like creates its own microcosm of activities. So I know that the show is very important that she stays on. So there's also that. So there's the baby fever and the clingy personality type or attachment style, and the pressure to stay on the show. And let me see here. That's what I think about Portia. I mean, I always thought she was harmless and just ditzy. That's how I just seen Portia. I've always just seen her as ditzy but harmless. I didn't see her as being a malicious person until she did what she did to Candy. I mean, I don't know if that was just for the show, but it wasn't right, for her to be repeating what she thought would be something negative about Candy. So I just didn't, I still, even after that incident with Candy, I just hadn't made my mind up on like, is Portia malicious? Is Portia a super mean spirited person? She doesn't seem like that, but I just see her as shallow and ditzy. So Dennis, now let's just go with the fact that he's Nigerian, and that's true that he is Nigerian. He has this oil company or whatever. I have a video that I took off. I unlisted it, called "Why African Men Are So Narcissistic." I date a lot of African guys. I mean, I've dated African guys, and I'm currently dating African guys and wealthy ones. And so I kind of know, I'm kind of familiar with like Dennis's type. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially, I mean, okay, so at Dennis's age, he's supposedly 56 years old. I can't imagine him being single, because not in Nigerian culture. No, not if, nah, no. You would be married by 56. That's very important. So I can see him I can see him not being single for a long time if he is indeed going to end the relationship with Fallon, or if the divorce is, however way close it is to being finalized. But I don't think that you should be engaged to another woman when you're still technically married to another woman. So Dennis is someone who I feel is going to do him. I know another thing. Like, Dennis is basically upgrading supply. So Fallon, let me show you a picture of Fallon. Let me see if I can find one. Fallon. She looks like an Instagram model. Let me show you. See if I can find it. She looks like your everyday Instagram model. Nothing. You see? You can see that. She just looks like your typical Instagram model. So this is his wife. So she didn't make the show. She's not super well known. I mean, she's kind of known in their circle, but she's not super. This is him with his soon to be ex-wife, Fallon. She's kind of known in Atlanta as it relates to him, but as far as like national, notoriety or international notoriety, she really doesn't have that. So what I think is happening is that Simon wants to upgrade his supply. He's bored with Fallon. He has 8 children, by the way, y'all. He has 8 children. I don't know how many children's mothers. I don't know. I just think he's bored with Fallon, and so he just wanted to trade her for a different supply. And I think that he thinks Porsha is higher level supply because Porsha has more notoriety. Because if you look in terms of beauty, these women are comparable. These women are in the same league. they're in the same league of beauty. And I don't know if Fallon has any type of depth to her, but if she's as shallow as Porsha, then they have that in common too. I don't know. But he just got bored. It's not even as complicated as people are trying to make it. Narcissistic men get bored easily, which is why you should make sure that you get resources in the meantime between time where you're dating someone, because they get bored fast and they're already moving on to the next person. So why should you leave empty-handed? You know what I mean? Um, a lot of people are criticizing Portia for filming at Fallon and Simon's home that they shared, and they were making this comment like, "Oh, see, that's why you can't have pretty friends around your man, and you need to know the people that you bring around your man because they could be plotting on you, and this and this and that." This is the thing about a man. A man is going to do whatever he wants to do, and it could be your friend, it could be your neighbor, it could be your boss, it could be a lady at the church, it could be the mail lady. It doesn't matter. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. You having your friend come to your house is not the end all be all, and that's not going to save your man, and that's not going to make him be faithful. And so everybody's calling, I mean, people are giving a little bit of smoke to to Simon, but not a lot. Most all the smoke is going to Portia, them calling her a home wrecker, a whore, a trifling, a slut, that she was plotting on her friend, trying to take her friend's man, and all this and this and that. But the truth of the matter is the fidelity and the monogamy, or whatever arrangement that y'all have in between you and your man, it really has to do with his integrity and what he is willing and what he's not willing to do. Like, and also how much is on the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just indiscriminately be sleeping with people. There are things on the line. So if you have a child with a woman outside of your marriage, what is that going to do for your finances? What is that going to do for your marriage? What is that going to do about your public image? How are the children that you already have, how are they going to feel about that? So a man should take those things into consideration before he just puts his thing into anything. You know what I mean? He just engages in sexual activity. He should think about, how is that going to affect my family? And that has everything to do with his personal integrity. Because if he has already decided that he's not going, he already has the sexual discipline, he's only going to stick to the rules of the relationship, and somebody busts it wide open, he's going to pass over it. He's going to pass over it. And at the same time, if he just wants to just do whatever he wants to do, and he just F the rules, I'll tell you anything that you want to hear, but once I step out of this house, I'm going to do what I want to do. Nobody even has to bust it wide open for him. He's going to go online and find it, or he's going to go to a bar, he's going to go wherever, and he's going to find what he wants. So in other words, there won't be anything that can stop him. But if he doesn't want to do it, it won't be anything that can make him. I hope that makes sense. We talked about the timeline. We talked about people crucifying Portia. Open relationships. Okay, so this is, I think that this is an important aspect to really understanding a situation whereby people are going to be getting together in all kinds of crazy configurations, because a lot of people had stuff to say about this picture. This is let me show you the one that let say, did she take it down? Oh no, here it is. It's right here. So this is the guy who she's engaged to, Simon. This is Simon, and this is Dennis. This is baby PJ's dad. So they I guess had a barbecue together, and I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're at Simon's house maybe, but everyone's saying Portia's pregnant. That's what's coming out of Atlanta, that she's pregnant. So this is them together. know if Dennis or I don't, they had some type of different configuration. But for me personally, whatever grown adult, consenting adults want to do, however way they want to configure their relationship, it's whatever. I don't care. But this picture and the fact that these men were hanging out was very bothersome to a lot of people. African men who are generous. Well, African men and African American women, we come together, I think, we are specifically Nigerian. I feel like I can talk about Nigerian men more so than any other type of African men. I could talk more so about Nigerians. And Nigerian men, a lot of times they do like African American women. They like us because they like Kenyan women too. They like South African women. Nigerian men like all women. Nigerian Nigerian men like women, period. But no, like they really do like African American women. They like us because we are a little bit more like we'll turn up with them. Like a lot of times Nigerian women are very mean to each other. When I tell you Nigerian women are mean, Nigerian women are so freaking mean to each other. They're mean to other women and they're mean to each other. And so a lot of times they'll get to a certain point where they'll stop going out because people talk, because people are really hard on women. Like you know, you have to dress a certain way, you have to have a master's degree or a doctorate degree, you have to go to church, you have to stay home, or you're going to be considered a whore, or you're going to be considered this and this and that. Well, the Nigerian men, they still want to party, they still want to turn up. So a lot of times they will get with the African American women, they will get with a Kenyan woman or a Rwandese woman or whoever, South African women, and they, you know, because those women, well, depend on Kenya. The Kenya depends, but a lot of times it doesn't. We don't care about what people say per se about us. We don't have those same cultural norms to where we can't go to the nightclub with our man and then we like we can't be seen in the nightclub. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't be seen doing certain things. Whereas Nigerian women have to they have to fit inside of a mold. So I feel like a lot of times they'll look for other women. Sometimes they will have a whole Nigerian wife, either in Nigeria or here, and they'll still like go out with Kenyan girls or go out with Rwandese girl or go out with South African women or whoever. They'll you know they'll still play around. So they'll like to kind of like, well, if I'm going to cheat, let me go find somebody in a different community because they're not going to gossip and send it back to my community. And a lot of times why we fall for them so fast is because they tend to be very generous and they're much more they will pursue you a lot more than African American men will. So Nigerian men like African, okay, if you're trying to date an African American man and let's say he texts you 2 times and like you was in the bathroom or you was doing whatever and you like you didn't get to it or whatever the case may be, the African American guy will get in his feelings and ghost you for like 3 days because you write him back and you're like, hey, sorry, you know what's going on. He'll just he'll just ghost you or he'll get all in his feelings. He'll get upset and he might call you 2 days later and you're like, hey, what's going on? What happened? He's like, well, obviously you was busy, you know, and he'll have a little like a little bitch made attitude about it. And I'm just giving you that same energy. You know, you don't want to call and you don't answer the phone. And okay, I got you. But a Nigerian man, girl, let me tell you, you cannot answer. He'll text you for like 3, 4 days. Baby, I love you. Baby, I miss you. What are you doing today? I want to take you out. I want to check your cash app. I already sent you money, baby. Like, I want to do this. And you'll be like, wow, you know, I'm coming to pick you up tonight. They'll call you, really pursue you. And so a lot of times African American women, we will respond very favorably to that because our men don't really chase us anymore. So when we get a man to chase us, we're like, why, hello. And they're very generous as well. That's another reason why I think that some Africans try to go after African American women, because we don't, I feel like even though they spend money on us, we don't know what we're entitled to as we're going to be their woman. Whereas Nigerian women know. Like, Nigerian, like, we think as African American women, we think we get a lot of money from Nigerian men. No, 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 no. You haven't seen nothing yet. You have to see a Nigerian woman get money from a man. Like, she will make us cry the way she know how to get money from men. And they know that. And I think that since they know that the Nigerian women know them front and back, side to side, through and through, they'll try to get the African American woman because we might be like, oh, I got my Birkin bag, so I'm good. Or, oh, he bought me a Chanel bag. Like, okay, I'm good. Well, meanwhile, if he had a Nigerian girlfriend, he would be paying her rent. He would be paying her car note. He would be paying her student loan or her school fees and giving her the Chanel bag. And we as African American, we don't really we don't be up on that, or we know how to fall for their bullshit if they tell us like, oh, babe, I don't have it this week, but I have it next week. But the Nigerian women know when they're bullshitting because they're from the same culture. So I personally just think that sometimes that's why Nigerian men try to go after us, because we don't know how to handle them the way their women handle them. You know what I mean? But shouts out to Nigerian women, shouts out to the Nigerian society that is naturally hypergamous. Because I mean, it's like, as far as like spending money on you, as far as your man doing stuff for you, or getting your car fixed, or giving you money to go shopping or whatever, it's like a lot of times if you're dealing with a Nigerian man, you don't have to sit up here and explain it to him, because he already knows that that's what he's supposed to be doing. And if you want to thank anybody, thank your Nigerian sisters for that. Thank your Niger. Good evening, Mahogany. Welcome to the live. Good evening. But yeah, you can, if you want to thank anybody, thank your Nigerian sisters. So I don't think that this relationship is going to last. This reminds me of this relationship right here. This is Tamar Braxton and David. What is his last name? I think it's like Adebayo. Oh, Adefeso. Adefeso. Uh, I predicted that they would last about 3 years, and I think that they lasted less than that. I knew that this relationship wouldn't last. Basically, they got married. They got together in like a love bombing, trauma bonded type of situation, and he's a narcissist and she's a narcissist. Two narcissists never last long. Never. They never last long. So I knew it was going to be explosive, and I knew it was going to be a big boom, and that's exactly what happened. And that's what's going to happen with this relationship with Simon and Porsha. It's not going to last. I think that he's going to get bored, and he's going to trade her in for somebody either with more notoriety or someone younger. But he's going to get bored, and he's going to trade her in, or I don't even know if they'll make it down the aisle. So if you think about it, they would have to plan some obnoxious wedding, because I don't think Porsha has been married before. So I don't know if she wants a huge wedding. And then David's been married, I don't know how many times, with his 8 children. But knowing Porsha, because it has to do with the show, I'm going to imagine that she's going to want to plan this big obnoxious wedding. So they would actually have to last long enough to walk down the aisle, and I don't think that that would happen. I seriously don't think that that will happen. They'll probably break up even before, they get to the aisle. Like, maybe they would get married if they just went to Vegas, like I said earlier in the shared fantasy. But if they wait until like 8 months or 9 months from now, or a year from now, or something like that, I don't think that they'll make it. If they do get married, I will give them less than 3 years too, just like I did them. Because this relationship, it doesn't have a solid foundation. It doesn't have a solid foundation. And if Porsha was my homegirl, I would tell her, you're not in a rush, and that you are the prize. You're not in a rush. You don't have to jump into this situation and say yes and push a situation that's so new. You don't have to settle for a man um who's not divorced yet, who's not really available to you right now. You know, you don't you don't have to do anything right now. Like, you have time. She's moving around like she don't have time. And she's like, "Oh, living in the life." That's called, a fairy tale. And I think that's a big misconception that we have, that we think that love is going to come in the form of a fairy tale, when that's not a sustainable way to build a long-term relationship. But that's how I started this live. Like, I don't know what Portia wants. I wonder if she wants to be married for the long haul, like a long-term, long enduring marriage. Because if you want a long enduring marriage, you have to properly vet your man. Now, I know his income is verified. I understand that. But he's love bombing you, but you don't know how he's going to treat you in the long run. You think that you're the hot stuff, the love of his life, but you have to understand that Fallon was in your exact same position 3 years prior to you. She was the hottest thing since sliced bread. She was everything in their shared fantasy. And you see how quickly that deteriorated. You want to think that he's your soulmate, but you don't understand that the sparks that you're feeling, sis, those are what happens when codependent and narcissistic people get together. You feel that chemistry, you feel that spark, because there's still deficits inside of you with your self-esteem, with your feeling enough without a man by your side, with you feeling secure, whether you get renewed to the housewives or not, and being able to live your life in a way that's not dictated by, you know, a corporation. Because if that show would influence you to enter into a negative relationship, it's not good for you long term, because rather you stay on the show for one more season, two more seasons, three, four, or five more seasons, eventually you're not going to be on the show. Like, the show, you and the show will come to an end at some point in time, be it the next, who knows when, but it's inevitable that this is not going to last forever. It's not for the long term. But the question is, would your marriage be, or are you interested in a marriage that could outlive this show? And if you are interested in a marriage to outlive this show, you have to go through the process like every other woman. You have to go through the process. Even if you're dealing with a man who makes $40 million, can you imagine if you would have made him wait? He's used to people busting it wide open for him. That ain't nothing new. Can you imagine if you would have actually made him wait until the divorce was complete? Can you imagine if you would have had boundaries and standards? You haven't had any boundaries or standards in this whole debacle. Because if you have boundaries, or if you had your own standards, you wouldn't have been busting it wide open for him when he's still entangled with this other woman. And you would play things in a more relaxed manner. You would let him be a friend on the side. You would just let him be an acquaintance that you keep in touch with. And, you wait until the dust settles with the other relationship. I mean, to be honest with you, really, I wouldn't marry any man within 2 years of a divorce. Because either if he wants to get married right away, that makes me think he's narcissistic. And if he's a regular schmegular guy, he's still hurt. If he's just a regular guy, within 2 years, he's still pretty devastated, especially if there's kids involved. So, Mahogany says, "Oh my God, you're the third person I heard say they won't make it down the aisle. Portia, slow down, girl." Yeah, no, seriously. Seriously, she should slow down, but this isn't like, as I understand, she wasn't dating Cordell very long before they got married. We all saw that she was dating Dennis for a few months and she got pregnant. So she is the queen of moving fast. But a lot of that moving fast is you get caught up on the narcissist love bombing train. And if you reciprocate all the love bombing, because you're craving it because of the low self-esteem and all of that. And the below the surface of that is, I'm like I'm worthy once I'm married. I'm worthy once I'm married. Like I'm more worthy when I'm married, or I'm more worthy when I'm connected to a man publicly. So if you have that feeling underneath it all, then you're going to more so just launch into a relationship without giving it thought. Like, she's not vetting these men. She's not allowing them to be consistent over a long period of time before she commits. So her commitment isn't expensive at this point. Even though Dennis, for whatever reason, because he's being compared to Simon, it seems like Dennis doesn't have a lot. But as I understand it, Dennis is worth about 4 million. That's a number that I heard being thrown out, that Dennis was worth 4 million. However, the number being thrown out for Simon is over 40 million. So yeah, that is a huge difference. That's a huge difference. But nonetheless, she's still dealing with wealthy guys. And I would tell Porsha, even if you're dealing with a wealthy man, like, you, because of the notoriety that you have of the show, you have access to more wealthy men. So you don't have to cling on and put like death grip on the first one, or this particular one, like Simon specifically. Oh, let me put my claws into him because I can't let go. I'm just going to grasp onto this and I'm not going to let go. So it's like a scarcity mindset that she has, and a lot of women do. And that's why they end up jumping into relationships so fast, because they feel like, if I let this guy go, then I'm going to be alone, and now being alone is unacceptable. Or I'm never going to find a relationship. I'm never going to find another man that wants to be with me, or this is the ideal situation for me. So you don't want to open it up and just let whatever happen, to where if the timing works out and post divorce and after this and after that, then if everything is cool, then yeah, we can see what happens. But I'm not in a rush. I'm not married to the situation, like, or I'm not totally invested in this situation. There are so many times that you would say, well, if I go this way, then I'm going to have, more of an option to get with a guy. But if I go with this way, then this is a surefire thing. You know what I mean? Um, Anyway, sorry y'all, it's so late. But Portia, that's what I would tell her if she was my homegirl. Just wait, girl. This isn't what you want. And I don't know if she's trying to kind of save face because she's pregnant. Supposedly, allegedly, she's pregnant. And the timeline is all messed up. But my thing is, like, I don't know how much time she would have before she really starts to show. But I think I would have probably tried to backtrack it. Like, okay, she announces that she's pregnant, and let's say she's like 5, 6 months or something like that. And then people do the math and they're like, hold on, wait, that overlapped. At least, even though it does overlap, it would at least be several months past where we are today. And at least it would give that divorce time to go through. Even, I don't know, people would have still did the math. People did the math on Phaedra. Like, people people still count back and be like, oh no, girl, you ovulated on this particular day. That means that you slept with him on this particular day, and that means you got pregnant on this particular day. People will count back that much. But yeah, what do y'all think about this stuff? What do y'all think about it? Do you think it's right that so many people are going in on Portia way more than they're going in on Dennis, or pardon me, Simon? Do you think, I mean, of course there's a double standard, but why do you think that still is? And why do you think that Simon is the one who's violating his marriage vows? So why is Portia being held to a standard of his marriage vows that he's not holding? Like, what do you think about that? Because I know for me, I do my research, because men lie a lot of times. If you ask them if they're married, a lot of times they lie. So I do my own research. I look for civil records. I do my own little vetting. I have my own little vetting process. Because of the girl code, Mona de Leon says, because it's the girl code. I guess girl code. I don't know. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying, Mona. I see what you're saying to a certain degree because they kind of knew each other, or at least they were at least friendly with one another. I can kind of see how that might be add extra sauce to the flavor. But do you think that, like, let's say Fallon was just a random woman and Porsha was a random woman and we didn't, like, nobody knew her per se, I still think that she would get the same smoke? Because Nicole Murphy did. Nicole Murphy, who was fool lying with Antoine Fuqua, and he was the one who was married, not Nicole, but she's the one who caught all the hell. So I just think, do you just think that we're just harder on women than men? And you just don't do what you want done to you? Yeah, I guess. You shouldn't don't do unto others what you want done unto you, something along those lines. Yeah, I think to a certain degree, when it comes to narcissists, you have to be very careful with that because there's a lot of things that a narcissist will do to you. And by you trying to treat them the way you would treat either yourself or another empathetic person, you will really end up losing. Because most of the time, if you're trying to give or you're trying to do something nice for a regular person, they will usually say, okay, well, I'm good, or, that's enough, or they'll at least think about you a little bit. But a narcissistic person will just sit there and let you give and give and give until you die. Like, you'll literally be on E, and they'll just keep on taking and taking and taking. So at some point in time, you kind of have to cut them off the way they will cut you off, or be self-interested in yourself the way they're self-interested. Because if they're self-interested and you're self-interested, that's a natural boundary. At some point in time, no one's going to, cross over the line of what they're not going to do. But if you're so giving and you're over the top and you're trying to accommodate them and they're only totally self-interested, you'll see that's a combination for you to lose. Mahogany says he was also exposed today by another, oh yeah, the white woman, by another woman he dated just a few weeks ago. It's still a double standard because people feel like in this case they know Porsha. They know Porsha and shame for her for getting the bag. Oh yeah, I saw that. It Let me deal with that one first. Yeah, they were really like there. I think that that's another reason why this is hitting home so much, is because people are upset that Portia's social climbing. Like, oh, she only wants to be with him for his money. Okay, and where's the problem? He wants to be with her for her beauty and notoriety. Where's the problem? Like, help me understand, where's the problem with that? Now, somebody like me, like I was telling you all earlier, I like depth. So the money for me is not enough. Like, I want more. I want something to be there. I can't say that Portia doesn't give me the impression that she's a very substantive woman. She seems very microwave, very shallow. Mona says it is more men in Atlanta or something. Yeah, it is more men in Atlanta. I don't know if they make 40 million though. There are some wealthy men though. I think that Portia, I mean, maybe the show is tethering her to Atlanta too much. And I think she also does the radio show as well. I think that the show might be tethering her too much, because if she went to like Dubai, and if she went to Europe, if Portia went to even South America, or go to the continent of Africa, Portia could have access to way more men than just what Atlanta has to offer. Like, she has the look and the notoriety that would probably grant her access to certain things abroad. in other communities, other cities, in LA or New York or Seattle or Austin or wherever. Like, I think that she just is so tethered to Atlanta that her circle is smaller, because if you're doing a radio show every single morning at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, you obviously can't do a lot of traveling. Plus adding on to filming for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, plus adding that on there. When you meet a man and he says that he is divorced, you have to ask him if the wife knows he's divorced too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can ask, but they still might lie. So I always encourage women, as soon as you can, start researching a man that you're dating. Look up as you guys are talking in casual conversation, and he's like, "Oh, I used to live in Cleveland, and I used to live da 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 da." You want to take a mental note of that, because you need to go back to all those counties that he lived in and check the local records. See if there's any marriages on there. I know I had dated this one guy last summer briefly, and he said he was divorced, but I don't believe him because I saw the marriage license, but I never saw the divorce. I never saw the divorce decree. And plus, he said he only had been married once, but when I did my research, he had been married 3 times. So the woman that he was supposedly divorcing from, that was his third marriage. But he never mentioned anything to me about the other 2 marriages. And I even asked him randomly one day. I was like, "Oh, you said you've been married once, right?" He was like, "Yep." So he lied again. So these men, they be lying. They be lying. You have to verify. You got to verify and find out what's the truth. Um, I'm not going to give y'all no I'm not going to give you any advice to like go out with married men. I'm not going to go that far. But what I will say is, I will say that women who are dating have dated more married men than they think. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very realistic type of person. I don't like to idealize things. I like to live in the what is actually happened versus what should be happening. Because we will should ourselves all to death. That people are really like against open marriages and they think it's disgusting and all this types of stuff, but people have no freaking clue how many times they probably dated someone who was married and not even know about it, because I guess maybe both sides lie, but I think men lie about it more. I think most women don't cheat, but when they do cheat, I think that they tell the partner pretty early on, like, "Hey, I'm married. I just want this relationship for a physical." Like, more honest about women are more honest about it now. Once they start full out lying, usually some feelings get involved and somebody ends up getting hurt. Somebody's either the lover is going to be hurt, or the cheating spouse is going to be hurt, or the other spouse that finds out. Like, it's going to be drama. It's going to be hurt and pain. But most women when they cheat, they'll tell the guy, like, "Hey, I have a man, but I have my needs," or whatever the case may be. Mona says, "I can't do it." Yeah, girl, I don't blame you. I mean, but like, let's just be honest. Like, if I married a man like Simon, like, I'm just hypothetically speaking, if I married a man like Simon and I knew, or like, let's say I was considering marrying a man like Simon, and I know that he has a history of he was cheating on, yeah, like you said, Mahogany, he was cheating on Fallon with the white girl who posted the pictures on IG today. But if I was dating a man like Simon and I was considering it, I would just talk to him like, "How many women do you think that you really like need at one time? And how much money do you think you're going to be spending on them? And like, what is your sexual practices, and what can I expect, and what does my prenup look like?" And it's not that I'm like, "Oh, I want to be in an open relationship." I'm just like, I'm just brutally honest about what's happening. And if he has a history of having multiple women and jumping from one woman to another, like, I don't know that he would ever stop. And I don't think that my pee would be so spectacular that it's going to make him stop doing what he's doing. I think he's going to do what he's doing. You know what would hurt me more is for you to be irresponsible and impulsive and do whatever you want to do and be reckless and disrespectful and lying and scheming and scamming. I would prefer to talk about things and understand what are the like what's really happening here. That's me personally. If I knew there was somebody out that has over $40 million net worth, because 9 times out of 10, he's going to keep on cheating until he dies. His culture, allows for, like, a lot of Nigerian men have multiple women. And a lot of times in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, it won't just be like, it's not like the type of cheating a lot of African American males do. Like, they'll just have one night stands and stuff like that. This type of cheating, they'll have a whole nother, like, woman who he's, like, paying her rent and everything else, and, like, giving her money and everything like that. He'll have a whole nother woman that he's, like, taking care of. And they will get as many women as they can afford. Literally, like, if you're doing okay, you have 2 women, you're doing really good, you have 3, 4 women. And in their society, like, you're not just seeing, like, you have to take care of them. So they ask you, you have to provide it. So, it's so important to vet a man. I understand that now. I'm at a point, I don't want my time wasted. Yeah, this is the thing about your time. This is the thing about your time. Your time can't be wasted. Your time can't be wasted because you own it. And you only give time to a man who's investing into you. And that's something that I realized, like, just on a side note, like, I have decided that I have a good group of men that I'm dealing with right now. I don't need to keep swiping and adding men. Like, I barely have enough time to, like, edit my videos and get the videos up here. And I work all day. I have a little one. So I don't have, like, to be swiping and starting all these new conversations when I already have well-to-do men that I'm talking to now. So there's one friend that I been talking to for maybe like a month, going on a month, somewhere around that. We've had 2 phone conversations, and he's already about to take me out of the country, and he already sent me something for Mother's Day, like cash. And I've talked to him twice on the phone. That's it. No video chat. No, I don't be doing, y'all girls, y'all be doing too much. I don't be doing none of that. All that, I don't do any of it. And still end up finding generous men. Still end up finding generous men. So, girl, I don't even know why I got into that. But, maybe because we was talking about Porsha, not, like, people trying to shame her because she was trying to get shmoney. Like, what is wrong? What's wrong with Porsha getting money? Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with her being with someone because he's wealthy? Maybe that's important to her, because I think that people don't want to accept that people have different motivations. So some people, if you say, oh, your man's going to be faithful to you and you're going to have to work 80 hours a week in order to afford your lifestyle because he doesn't make a lot of money, but he's loyal. And if that's a high motivating factor for you, if that's, like, something that's really important to you, then you're going to put yourself in that situation. But also, you have to be willing to accept that for some women, the highest motivating factor for them is living in a life of luxury. They want to just chill. They want to have financial security. They want to have their hair done, their nails done, a nanny, whatever, car service, or whatever type of little luxuries in life. They want all of that. Country club membership, all of it. Designer handbags and clothes, or whatever other motivations they have. And so they may be willing to have a lot more wiggle room on some of those other things. Like, why can't both people exist without shaming the other? Mona says, nothing, but it's just too close to home. Your child's father's friend, ex-associate's husband, just messy. She could have just kept it private. I agree. I think that the best thing for this to do was to have been private, but I think that the pregnancy situation, if she is indeed pregnant, that's what's busting it wide open because it wouldn't be Dennis's baby. And people gonna do the math. They're gonna add it up and they're gonna know that it overlapped with Fallon. This is an extremely messy situation, but I think at the heart of it, it has to do with Portia's desperation. Because I think that us looking at her, we see her as this beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. She's got a great body. She has a good personality. She's doing well career wise, has a nice family, has a lot of notoriety. Why are you so desperate? Why are you so desperate? You don't have to be. You literally have more access to men than the average woman. You need to get out of Atlanta, though, for real. You need to explore the world. You need to get out of Atlanta. But I think from the outside looking in, we don't see her having any reason to be desperate. But I think that in the inner workings of Porsha, despite the beauty, despite the fame, despite her talents, there's self-esteem issues, there's hurt issues. None of us know the story with her dad. She only talks about her mom. We've only ever seen the mom film with her. So where's the dad? She'll talk about her grandfather, but she doesn't talk about her dad. So we don't even have all of Portia's story to help us understand the motivations inside of her that makes her be on the narcissistic roller coaster, man after man after man, and not pumping the brakes, not having that discernment, not having that maturity. So you're on this roller coaster, and then once this guy gets bored with you, then are you going to jump on another narcissist roller coaster? Because to handle a man like a Simon, you're going to need a lot of patience. And it's going to be very painful when he gets bored of you. He wouldn't probably divorce you. You would just be so lonely in that relationship that you probably will want to divorce him. Because when he withdraws that love bombing, she's going to crash. She's going to crash. And it's going to be like an overnight thing too. They do it very rapidly. One day, they love every like follicle on your head. And then the next day, you can't even get them on the phone. And then they gaslight the shit out of you too, right? So you're like, baby, like, what's going on? Like, you acting different now. What do you mean? No, I'm not. Well, no, you are. Like, we normally go out every week. Well, I'm working. Everything's fine. I still feel the same. Well, are you sure, you're not feeling something different, baby? No, I feel great. I feel the same. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you, are you about to start your period? Why are you so emotional? Like, why are you questioning me? Why don't you trust me? And you're like, I don't know. And then before you know it, you're on the defensive. That's how they gaslight you whenever they stop love bombing you. When you know that it's gone. Now, this is people who are totally caught up in it. Somebody like me, I've dealt with so many narcissists in my day. I already know the freaking pattern. I don't give a shit. And I don't get sucked up into the shared fantasy. When they're talking about, oh, blah, blah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, so I'm thinking about like, but what are you doing for me right now? What are you doing for me right now? Because just like when you get married and either you do a good prenup or you don't do a prenup and you end up getting whatever you're going to get financially from your marriage, I feel the same way about every narcissistic relationship. If you're going to divorce me anyway, I'm not walking away empty-handed. Period, boo. So you're going to spend something, some type of way. Now, luckily, with like my friend who sent me something today, I didn't ask him for anything. That's my first, like, that's my first experiment in not asking, because I usually hint at what I want or like ask directly, hey, I need this or send me that. But with him, I didn't do that. I was just super, super sweet. I mean, not that I still am. I'm just super, super sweet. And he got a new executive job, and he's in the process of relocating, and I don't like make a big deal when I don't hear from him from a long time. And when he hits me up, I'm just super, super sweet. And he was like, I want to pamper you for Mother's Day. Like, I didn't ask him. I'm just living my life, and this man wanted to do something, and then also with the trip too. And I end up picking the country that I want to go to and stuff like that. So, I'm sorry, I got off subject. Pay me for my pain, boo. Yes, mahogany. Yes, exactly. You're gonna pay me. I never leave a relationship empty-handed. I stopped doing that shit in 2019. You can watch my video called My Last Dusty. My Last Dusty. No, I want to do a series on like dating without devastation, because ever since I started making guys pay as they go, like, I remember talking to this girl. Let me back up a little bit. I remember talking to this girl, and so there's a lot of people who feel uncomfortable with me, like, getting money from men that I date, or getting that, like, going out on nice dates and stuff like that. A lot of people are really hot and bothered about that. They don't like that, whatever. But I just remember telling this woman that, like, there's a reason why I don't like go to Starbucks or like meet you at the park or something. Like, you're going to be spending money like from day one. And the reason why is because where I want to go eventually is with you taking care of all the bills. That's where ultimately I'm trying to go. That's my direction. Where we're in a committed relationship and you take care of like most all the bills. So it wouldn't make sense for me to start our courtship at Starbucks, because I'm not headed towards 50-50ville. Somebody I know who's married told me, she said, one thing I regret, she said, I regret not having expectations from the beginning. That's what she said. She's married, unhappily married. Well, she pretends to be happy, but she's miserable. She's miserable. Okay, let me say this. She's miserable, but she won't blame it on her marriage. She thinks like, like people who be in exploitative situations and they like make excuses for it. Like, oh, we're all supposed to suffer. Like like this is just, we're just going through the growing pains. That's kind of like where she is right now. She told me, um, she said, I regret not having expectations from the beginning. That's what she said. She said, I regret not having expectations from the beginning. And that's what I said. Well, it makes sense, because if you cannot basically give a man everything for free, right? Like, okay, well, I'll Netflix and chill with you, and I will go to the park and I'll do free shit with you, and you don't have to pay anything. And then once you become your boyfriend, you're like, okay, well, you're my boyfriend now, so now you're gonna start taking me out on dates, right? He's like, think about it from his perspective. Why would he take you out on a date all of a sudden just because you're his girlfriend? When he was trying to get you to be his girlfriend, you would go to his house and Netflix and chill and go to the park. So what would be the incentive for him to start taking you out on dates? And if you don't require anything during the courtship process, he's not paying no major bills or being generous with you. You think that just because you get married, he's going to like start paying all the bills? But why would he, when he's been 50-50 all this time? So that's why I do it the way I do it, because of the direction that I'm going. And When you're dealing with a man that's generous, it's not stressful. It's not stressful at all. In fact, it's very easy. And I've dated narcissistic guys and guys with like borderline traits. They try to force me into a relationship. And the thing about me is, I would love to have more children, but I'm not in a rush. So I have a timeline that I have, and I have a list of things that I'm evaluating you for. And the biggest thing that I'm evaluating you for is consistency. So if you're trying to force me into a relationship by the fourth date and you don't respect my timeline, then our days are numbered and you're on your way out. And during those 4 dates, I've gotten jewelry, I've gotten perfume, I've gotten clothes, I've gotten whatever. So by the time that fourth date, that you're not willing to be on my timeline and you're not willing to wait, or you're not willing to do whatever, or you just have some type of change of behavior, then that we don't date further, I didn't lose. I'm not at a deficit. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, devastated. I'm not. I'm fine. It just didn't work out. And I had some amazing dates. You know, I got to go out, I got to do this, I got that, I got gifts, I got money. I'm good. Like, I haven't lost. But it's those situations when you date and it's like you have to put this guy, this pedestal, like, I gotta marry him, I gotta be with him, everything has to work out, and you're overextending yourself, then you're the one who leaves the dating situation depleted. Men always meet their needs. They always do. They're very self preserving, self prioritizing beings naturally. So they're getting their needs met. And if you don't get your needs met, you're gonna end that relationship at a deficit. It's not smart because you won't like dating. That's why so many people are like, it's so interesting when I tell them how I date and they're like, oh, but like, how do you treat your man though? And I'm like, what you mean? Like, any of these guys can be my man if they want, like, if they put in the work. They think that dating for resources, or not dating for resources, but when you date and you end up getting resources along the way, is different from dating to try to find a man. And I'm like, why does it have to be different? I just see all these guys could be a potential man. Even if I have my standards and I have, okay, this is what we have to do and this is the process, why would I change that for somebody that I want to marry? It doesn't make sense. I've met girls who are going out with guys to get money and then they have a whole dusty at home. And I'm like, girl, or they're like, oh, I'm just going to date like this until I'm ready to settle down. Why can't you settle down with a man who has money? Why do you have to see it so different? Like, well, I'm doing this for now, but once I get, in a situation, I'm just going to go back to struggle love. Why? I don't have any intention of going back to struggle love. Nope. I won't be doing it. Oh my gosh. My boo thing is texting me right now. I just think that was so sweet. He just wanted to send me to the spa for Mother's Day. So he sent me something for that. And it was so sweet because I told y'all I didn't even ask. I didn't even ask him for anything, and he just did it because he's just a sweet, generous man. And I really appreciate him for doing that because I'm going to really enjoy the spa. I'm going to get a pedicure and I'm going to get a facial. And it's like at this really nice 5-star hotel, like the spa's inside this 5-star hotel in my city. It's amazing. That's where I'm going. Yeah, girl, it was so sweet. It was so sweet. And then there's this particular bag that I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy it because I just recently celebrated my birthday not long ago. Go Taurus. And there was this bag that I wanted to buy, and my friend gave me the money for it. One of my like older throwback type of friends who's still around my peripheral, having an eye out on me or whatever. So he was like, "Well, I can't give you the money. I can't give you the money till Friday." And I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to wait till Friday, right? I don't want to wait. I have to wait." And by the okay, so he sent me okay, so I text him. I was like, "Babe, it's Friday." He was like, "I already sent the money." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, babe." He had already sent the money like exactly when I was texting him, like, "Hey, babe, it's Friday." And so by the time I went on off Saks and Bloomingdale, Saks, and Nordstrom, they all sell this freaking bag, completely sold out. I went to off Saks trying to get the bag in person. They don't have it. It's not on Bloomingdale's, it's not on Nordstrom, it's not on Saks. The bag is like completely freaking sold out. And I was like, man, what I should have did was buy it on my credit card and then just got the money and then just put it back on there. You know, I got spin class at 5:30, then work. Good night. We'll catch the next live. Thank you, my dear sister. Good night, my love. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Yeah, I'm supposed to be going to a food drive tomorrow to observe and to volunteer. So I probably I probably need to go to sleep soon too. But I'm waiting on the lady to email me back to let me know what time the food drive starts because I need to get there like 30 minutes early. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know if y'all have any questions or if y'all have any comments. If you wanted to call in or if you had any commentary about what's going on. We started veering off and talking about my dating life, which has nothing to do with this video. I mean, maybe a little bit, because I mean, I do date generous Africans. So, good night, my dear. Yeah, I do date generous Africans, so I know where Portia's coming from. But I don't think that Porsha understands the nature of narcissism, and I don't think she understands the nature of how temporary this relationship is likely going to be. So, she probably just needs to ball out until he gets bored and moves on to the next one. That's my final verdict on it. She needs to get whatever she can get because he's going to be on to the next. Because the maturity, I don't know what the formula would be to make a marriage like that work. I think that you would just have to have like no standards because he is going to have a lot of women in that, and at least in those, like you can't have any expectations that he's going to be faithful. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you understand that he's going to be out there, he's also not going to provide you an emotional support. He's not going to be very present with you. He's going to be very distant. You know, he's going to be very busy. He's going to be occupied with other women and other things. So you need to be self-sufficient to live on your own, basically, because he's not going to be by your side. Hopefully, he's not like an aggressive narcissist. Maybe he's just a cerebral sort of withdrawal type of narcissist. But the only way that that kind of relationship will work is if you had no emotion, like you got all your emotional needs met from somebody else, because Simon isn't going to be able to meet any of them. Simon isn't going to be able to be present with you all the time. And a lot of the nuanced things that happen to you as a woman, Simon isn't going to be very responsive to those things. He'll probably keep up the optics and like keep letting you live a good lifestyle, but the lifestyle would have to be enough for you. So if you're super fulfilled with the lifestyle that he could offer you, and you find some arrangement that's going to work with him as far as his other women, and you find some type of peace with that, and you don't need a lot from him in terms of, you know, you're strong enough to endure when he completely withdraws and disappears from you. I don't really think most women are about that life. I don't think they're about that life. And if you think about it, she wouldn't be about that life because she is in the love bombing right now. She doesn't understand that that love bombing has a specific time frame, that it's going to be boom, you know, boom, it's over. So she may be expecting that the marriage is going to be what the love bombing is. Like, I know that Dennis cut me off and he love bombed me and then he went away. And I know that Cordell love bombed me and then he, withdrew. But Simon's different. Simon, this is like, it's going to stay like this. We have this amazing connection. Everything feels so good. This is never going to stop. She think every single narcissistic guy is different. Like, no, like, this is just what it is. This is how it works. Now, you could have not gone down this route with Simon and found another wealthy man somewhere else, probably not Atlanta. But hey, whatever. You want to put all your eggs in the Simon basket, okay. I'm just telling you that's what it's going to be. Like, it's going to all stop. And then how Fallon feels, you're going to feel that same way. So are you built for that? Are you ready for that type of life? Are you prepared mentally and spiritually for that? And for you personally, is the money and the lifestyle enough? You have only Porsha can answer those questions for herself. But I don't even think Porsha is in the mental state to even ask these questions, because I think she's under the delusion that the love bombing is what it is. The shared fantasy will just endure. Not understanding that all of this stuff comes to an end. All the endorphins wear off, the pheromones, all the passion. Like, once the physicality has dissipated, what do you have? What do you have? Do you have dating options to all men or just African men? For me, I date all men. Like, I have a white guy that I'm dating right now, and he's very wealthy. He went to Ivy League school and he has a plane. So white men can be very generous, very sweet. They can also be very, narcissistic too. I've met some of them. But no, I'm open to dating all different kinds of men. An Indian guy is trying to talk to me right now. I just haven't had the time to book a date with him. But an Indian guy is trying to talk to me. I have gone out with Indians in the past. Actually, it's a couple of Indian guys trying to talk to me. I've gone out with Indian guys in the past, a lot of Africans, some Caribbeans. I will do African American, but older, like older than 45. I can't do millennials and all of that. African American, no, I can't. So I have to go older if I'm dating African American men, because they tend to be a little bit more generous and old school. They're much more old school and traditional, the older guys. Not all, but some. So yeah, that's what I do. And right now I have a very good little list that I'm working with. And I was going to actually record a video, and I might still record a video about the white guy, because I never envisioned myself being with a white man. But I don't want to cut myself off from a comfortable lifestyle and having inheritance for my children. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to cut myself off from that. But there's a lot of things that I have to take into consideration, including the fact that I have a fully African child, and I just have to think about, like, what is the optics of that? And like, what if you have biracial kids and a full black child? Will the full black child filled away? I don't know. Like, when I tell you, a lot of things are in my mind in terms of me thinking about being with a white guy forever. It makes me really, really think, about some things before I can make that decision. Okay, I've just expanded my dating options as well. It's so different, but I feel safe and being cared for. A man mahogany, yes. A woman mahogany, yes. When you expand your options, it feels amazing, because like, for the white guy, for example, the white guy that I'm talking to, I haven't said anything about race. It hasn't come up. It hasn't come up. And as I've gotten more comfortable dating the rainbow, I don't bring up race. Like, I used to be more insecure about it. So I would be like, oh, have you ever dated a black girl before? Or have you ever, have you ever been in a serious relationship with a black woman? Like, I would immediately make it a thing, but now I don't make it a thing. Like, I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful woman, period. And I happen to be black. You know what I mean? But I don't lead with, I'm a black woman. I just, I'm out there in the global market. I'm a beautiful woman, period. Period. So I don't bring it up, and it hasn't come up. He hasn't said anything to me about it. I haven't said anything to him about it. Of course, if things got more serious, it would come up. But I just think that I've given myself the grace of dating Asian guys or white guys or Persian guys or whatever. And I just show up as a beautiful woman. I don't show up with the black chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? I hope I'm making sense. Because I think that we as black women, I think that we devalue ourselves inadvertently because we make our blackness like a negative. We make our blackness a deficit. Like, oh, well, have you ever dated a black girl? Like, have you stooped so low as to date a black girl? You know what I'm saying? I think that sometimes it comes off like that. Like, we are coming to the situation as though we are from a lower, you know, stock of genetics. And I come in now that I have a different attitude. I come into it like, you get the privilege of dating a black woman. Like, you get the privilege of dating a black woman. Like, you're the one coming up and you're the one winning. And so with that energy, I think like, you can put me next to a white girl. You could put me next to an Asian girl. You could put me next to a Latina girl. I'm competitive. I don't give a shit. I am a beautiful woman, period. So I don't have to qualify my beauty or put a precursor on it or like make it a thing. I just show up and I'm fabulous. I don't think we should. They look at us, like you said, as a beautiful woman. So it shouldn't be an issue. Absolutely, mahogany. It just took me a little while to get there to where I see it as such. I don't make a big deal about it. And it's been working for me. It's literally been working for me. All right, y'all. We talked about quite a bit of random gibberish on this live, on this Afrocentric Woman After Dark. I really appreciate you all. I really do. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and thank you for tuning into my video and enduring my discombobulated rants and whatever, y'all. It's late and it's been a long day with my little one and businesses, so I appreciate y'all. Mahogany says, I no longer lead as a black woman, just a woman. I've learned to lead as being a woman first. Thank you so much. I love this channel. I love you, Mahogany. Thank you for loving my channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you for loving my channel. Please let me know what you want to hear about. What do you want me to kind of go in on more? Because I have this long list of videos to record. But I mean, I would love to kind of respond. One thing that I did say that I was going to do is I was going to start doing question and answers, because I do answer a lot of the women's questions in the like networking group. But I was thinking I could come on the channel and answer those questions in like either in the form of a live or in a pre-recorded video. Just start answering some of those questions. A lot of those questions come from girls in their 20s who are interested in dating up. And they have all kinds of questions that are, for me, very basic, you know. Oh, da 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 da. He said he wanted me to stay at the Motel 8. Is he wealthy? And you're like, girl, no. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great night. Peace and love. Peace.